And we hope that balance. It's national championships, the junior varsity. Let's give our and familiar faces seated at these buzzers will contest this round in just a minute. Let's do a quick buzzer check and then I'll go through the preliminaries and we'll get playing very shortly. So start us off on red five. Tell us your name, your school, and your state. Saratoga, California. Arjun from Saratoga, California. Next up. Um, okay. On grade three. Square nine from City Hall Prep, New Jersey. Great. New Jersey, grade two. Something. Yeah. Right. Something from Maryland and over here. My name's Drew. I'm from New Jersey and I'm ready for us. Okay. Next up. And our defending national champion. Okay. Fix. Just be advised, R2 margins as best as possible. I will be playing margin V, but be careful. Okay. These amounts need next to each other. Okay, I'm David Manford, Executive Director of International Academic Competitions. Noah Danger and McKinney are going to be doing the scoreboards with everything. I'm sorry, I did this on the screen. Okay. We're gonna want to make sure that we can get that working and all possible all day after that out. Just to go through again how the round will work. It is a round of 35 questions. The going out point is at 40. Okay. Using the national championships playoff scoring system of 6-5-4-3 -2 -1. You all know how that works. I just played it in the semifinal round, and you're doing unlimited names potentially at nationals this year. A innovation from last year's. That's what's really at the carrying over. Right now, I'm I try and such. Okay. So the group are going to be over. Yeah. Yep. It's all right. Can you pull that up on the store? Yes. Here. Please turn your cell phones off. And if you have to get up, please do so in between questions. Ideally, not to the end of the round. If you have to be moving around, please don't do that while the players are close. This is how that's weird. Okay, so we'll start that out. Now they can see that. So they can see it. The good players are all moving forward. Okay, great. Okay. Okay. So you're still situated as we begin this USC 3D title match for 2026 in the JV. Good luck to all players. Let's begin. Toss of one. This is the regist of Inessa would later work with its composer Samuel Barber on revising the book for Franco Zeffirelli's Anthony and Cleopatra. This composer of the console wrote wrote the cantata Landscapes and Remembrances for the U.S. bicentennial celebrations. One work by this composer. Nick 2 appeared on Christmas Eve on NBC and took inspiration from Hieronymus Bosch's Adoration of the Magi. Points named this Italian American Nick 2 composer and librettist of the first opera produced for U.S. television, All of the Night Visitors. Time always stopped. Y'all with that? John Carlo Minaldi. Faucet 2. This politician used the Espionage Act to shut down Vermin publication, including Social Justice, the magazine of Father Charles Coughlin. This attorney general used the Smith Act to prosecute Socialist Workers' Party members, and in ex parte query, this prosecutor argued that habeas corpus did not apply to the defendants as they were German spies, serving as the U.S. judge of the Nuremberg trial. Robert Jackson. The point was this attorney general under Franklin Roosevelt who opposed Japanese internment. Yes. Time, this is Francis Bill. Toss of 3. At one battle, this man asked a Dwingte for advice, upon which Dwingte returned with a vision in which he experienced holding 100 soldiers in each hand. This man, the most photographed leader, red cloud for 6 points. Some negs over to Ryan. Okay, to number 4. This artist depicted boys playing baseball as an Independence Day parade weaves through a rural town in the painting July 4th, which was gifted to Harry S. Truman. After collector Louis Calvin visited Hoosick Falls, New York, this artist was included in an exhibit on contemporary unknown American painters. Men carrying buckets as a large cauldron boils maple syrup during community harvest. Grandma Moses is great for 5 points. That's Ryan. Toss of 5. This treaty retroactively accepted the Collins-Allen timeline, and the overlapping territory discussed in this treaty and the Treaty of La Pointe caused the signing of Mr. Ashford. That is good for 6 points over amazing. I suppose toss of 6. This woman, the last living recipient of the Lenin Peace Prize, founded the organization Critical Resistance, which advocates against the prison-industrial complex. Davis is correct for 6 points over R and B. Toss of 7. An instance of these institutions in the U.S. was founded by George A. Bellamy. One of these institutions was created based on a donation by Cornelia Warren, and that institution's employees included Amelia Earhart, who over Boston to drop leaflets regarding a fundraiser for that institution. One of these institutions had a summer camp called Bowen Country Club and was based on Toynbee Hall. Good points. That's good for over to Ryan. Toss 8. This author coined a law stating that reporting of horrible events increases the apparent extent by 5 to 10-fold, which was stated at the start of the book, focusing on Enguerrand de Coucy. This granddaughter of Henry Morgenthau documented incidents like the Great Ice Cream Raid in the life of Joseph Stilwell, and she also wrote a book. 5 points plus. There she's coming. That's random. It's Brian Cameron. Toss of 9. After 10, we will scores. Careful on this. An example of this literary genre features 20 sections titled Removes, while Puritan minister John Williams wrote another work in this genre after being involved in the raid on Deerfield, a 1682 work written in this genre involved an attack on King Philip's War, after which a father travels to Massachusetts and is ransomed for freedom. The points name this historical nonfiction genre, which included examples featuring colonists who described their sufferings while being kidnapped. One more problem. Negative. Describe their sufferings while being kidnapped by Native Americans. The colonial memoirs of John Smith. Negative 1. Time these are captivity narratives. Okay. Also, 10, and those are by scores. One politician with this surname suggested the fund while serving as Richard Nixon's campaign treasurer. One general with this surname was court martialed during the Philippine American War. His murder killed everyone over the age of 10. And Nathan Miller defeated a politician with this surname in the 1920 New York gubernatorial election. For the points, identify the surname shared by the orator of the Declaration of Conscience. Smith. Smith.
In lead 15, I have Ryan, followed by 6 points for Arjun B. I have 4 points apiece for Quinton and for Sidhu. I have 0 each for Ryan and Sathik. And I have -2 each for Arjun B and Hill.
Yes. Okay, great. We'll continue along with cost 11. During the New Deal, this person was the AAA's expert on peaches. Luis Fruit knows about it in a small partner with Herman Arnold, a spectacularly great figure for providing discounted legal aid. This person argued Gideon V. Wainwright, guaranteeing the defendant's right to attorney in state court. A scandal involving Fortus flag 5. Cost 12. Guy Hopkins alleged that Franklin Pierce was a member of this organization, which organized the Baltimore law in an attempt. That's good for 6. Here's another that was yes. 13. A 1793 fire in this city involved an enslaved man named Tommy placed coals in Leonard Ganseport's stable. And 2, the city was incorporated under the oldest still active city charter, the 1686 Dongan Charter. In 1754, Congress in the city brought representatives from there, 14. Historian Daniel Immerwahr argued that this book was the second highest selling American novel of the 19th century after Uncle Tom's Cabin. This novel was followed by the sequel Equality, has its protagonist guided by Dr. Eat around Boston after being asleep for 113 years.
Rip Van Winkle?
This novel depicts a society where everyone eats from communal kitchens and retires at 45 years old thanks to the nationalization industry. For the point, Steve, this utopian Gilded Age novel by socialist Edward Bellamy.
Looking back.
Good for Ryan. 15. A 1982 Science Digest work by Robert Travers and this man analyzed the role of self-deception in the crash of Air Florida Flight 90. Tyrone Robinson admitted to this man's murder.
You
Say that. Yes, that's been 6. What you say?
Simple.
Huey Newton, yeah. Puzzle 16. During this battle, a rear guard formed in Plains Woods, while 7th Regiment set Corinne's Hill. This battle, one side retreated to Carson's Farm, while artillery at Combs Hill stopped on the side. That's good for 5. New Jersey, to Sidhu. 17. After the General Assembly overrode 105 of this politician's budget vetoes in 2003, he brought pigs to the State House to protest against work projects. In November 2025, journalist Brian Lizard claimed that Olivia Nutsey had a previously unreported affair with this politician during his brief 2020 presidential campaign. In 2009, this politician was flying back from Argentina for a different affair. Sanford, that's good for 5. That's the Mr. Appalachian Trail. Puzzle 18. This man wrote multiple songs for the film Sun Valley Serenade, which included the first song to receive a gold record, Chattanooga Choo Choo. This man adapted F.W. Meacham's American Patrol of Jazz. And 2, England jazz hit was popular during World War II in this musician who died in a plane crash. That's good for 5. 19 for Friends for Chapter 20. This politician defeated Jacob Thorkelson and Jerry J. O'Connell hired Elizabeth Watson to investigate working conditions at the Bureau of Grading and Printing. In the Employer Gazette, William Allen White praised this politician, stating that her name would be written in monumental bronze for an action taken in the face of the attack on Pearl Harbor. That's good for 4. Also 20. This man. This man served as the primary lawyer for Daniel Drayton and Edward Sayers in the trial following the province, and his wife, Mary Tyler Peavy, produced the first English translation of Domingo Sarmiento's Torpedo. This man succeeded John Quincy Adams in the House of Representatives and served as the president of Antioch College. Every Thursday. Day 2. Horseman. That's every line. All right, so in the lead of Foot Boys, I have Ryan, by 18. I have 16 for Quinton, 11 for Archie K. I have 0 for Miller, Zion, and Sapphic, and I have -2 for Argentina. Okay, scores check at 21-15 to play. This island's tallest peak is Mount Caroline. 6 points, I suppose. Plus 22. This age of Prince Eugene of Savoy established and stands of King Robert of Stowe sent prisoner trustees led by John South in America. This man led an attack on St. Augustine's world defeating Spanish forces. And two, at the Battle of Bloody Marsh during the War of Jenkins' ear. This governor began slavery. That's what we're live. Good question would be 23. Defector William Wells was wounded 2 days before this battle. Prior to this battle, Arthur Sinclair suffered a namesake defeat in the Battle of Wallace. 6. 24. Abbott's magazine publicly autocratic breakfast table without copyright notification. The Supreme Court ruled the work was in the public domain and owns the hers. Manafort Bush wrote an essay published in this magazine titled As You May Think, while in 1862, Julia Ward Howe sold the song out to the public to this magazine. Atlantic Monthly. That's good for 5. Plus 25. This man shot Agent Wiley Thompson while members of his tribe ambushed U.S. forces under Francis Dade. Osceola? Yeah, 6 points, 16 cents in Florida. Plus 26. Aviators from this ship helped sink the PA during the Enterprise? Enterprise was 6. Suppose yeah, okay. Great. Clause 27. James Edward Horton's fairness towards this group may have lost him his judgeship. Samuel Leibowitz initially agreed to accept the position of co-counsel to defend this group alongside the Communist Party lawyer when the Scotts. 6 points. 28. Charles Fahey held this office during World War II, during which he suppressed critical evidence facilitating the Gorlap's ruling. There, is your with 7. So for scoring and remaining players, I have 30 points for Sadu, followed by 22 for Quinton, 17 for Arjun. I have 0 for Ivan and Suffolk, -2 for Miller, and -4 for Argentina. Okay, moving along, 29. Remember, we play off all placements. This man, after leaving the Obama administration, founded West Executive Advisors, and he coined the phrase "nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine" in 2022 press conference. The House Foreign Affairs Committee recommended that this politician be held in contempt of Congress for refusing to aid in an investigation into the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. This man is the highest-ranking Jewish person to have led a federal executive department, a distinction he shares with Henry Kissinger, for the point being this diplomat served as Joe Biden's Secretary of State. It's kind of solid. 30, something different here. During this man's second stint in Chicago Cubs, he beat Roger Clemens in the first National League matchup between two 300 pitchers in over a century. From 1992 to 1995, this man became the first pitcher to win the Cy Young in 4 consecutive years. And in 2012, this man became the namesake of a feat in which a pitcher throws a complete game in fewer than 100 pitches. For the points team, this former pitcher for the Atlanta Braves formed. No, it's the Atlanta Braves formed the team's big three with Tom Blackman and John Smoltz. So, time, any baseball fans in the audience? Right, man. All right. Focus 31. I do know. During this event, Jefferson Airplane's Marty Bailey was knocked unconscious after attempting to de-escalate a situation concerning event security. Grateful Dead canceled. It's still on? No. I do. You canceled your considering this event was supposed to perform out the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and this event is the culmination of the Rolling Stones' 1969 tour as featured on the documentary In Shelter, resulting in murder of Meredith Clark by Hell's Angel security points into this 1969. No, into 1969 free concert in California. Time, audience. Altamont. Altamont. All right, let's get away from pop culture. 32. Candidate in this election year served as the defense attorney for Shiprock Jenkins before running with George Julian. After failing to secure a Whig nomination this election year, one man ran with Charles Jenkins under the Union Party. The winning vice president in this election year became the only vice president. No, and two to be 1836, and then two was sworn in on. There you go. After 5. Okay, we've got 3 to go. This man voiced Benjamin Franklin on the PBS show Liberty's Kids, and after a nervous breakdown. No, after a nervous breakdown, Jimmy Cage was replaced by this man to broadcast the 1960 Winter Olympics. In 1968, this man entered report from Vietnam. All 3 of that for 6 points to Miller. 34. While serving in this position, Lewis rejected the McDonald Treaty and serving the shortest ever term as Secretary of State. Alan Washburn was reappointed to this position. Alongside Pierre Souvet and James Buchanan, John Mason helped write the Ostend Manifesto during his tenure in this position. Alongside a similar one in Vienna, Charles Guiteau repeatedly asked James Blaine to be appointed to this position. For the points in this position, first fellow. Russia. No, two. Western Spain. Negative. First called by Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. Say it off walls. Or 4 points over to Miller. Let's give a final scores with 1 question to go. For all remaining players, 35 points for Stu, 18 Quentin, 11 for RGB. I have positive Miller, positive 1 for Sonic. -2 for IAC and -4 for Argentina. All right, so with 1 question, consider your strategies for the final question of the round. There it is, number 35. To remember people involved in this event, which may have involved a crime committed by Camacho, several boys of Buenos Aires created the Argentinos Juniors Club. During this event, John Bonfield asked the crowd to disperse, and Matthias Deegan was killed by a Haymarket for. Second place, also to New Jersey, considered out. Sam coming up momentarily at 3:15. So if you're involved in that, make sure to make your way to the center and tell the guys, make